well, all of the Interstate Cadets came out without a wing tank. They only had the main 15-gallon tank. And when we go to bigger engines, C85, C90s, O200s, you start running into range problems because you just don't have enough fuel. So the standard 6-gallon Taylorcraft wing tank has been the typical installation. And this is a right wing. You'd have the same setup in a left wing. You can have one tank or you can have both tanks. And this is a very typical installation setup with Taylorcraft wing straps and just a bolted strap around the tank holding it in place. You got felt edge padding all the way around to make sure it's good. And you definitely want to, if you can get the camera down on this guy, on the tanks allow for the drag wires to go right through the tank. And where the wire goes through the tank, you want to make sure that you've got adequate chafe protection in there so that if this wire, as it goes through the tank, is protected from banging up against the tank itself and obviously wearing a hole in the thing, and then you have a major fuel leak. So make sure that you protect your drag wires adequately, as this one has done. They've got nice rubber hose on the wires to go through the tank. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about the installation of the fuel valve and shutoff and lines. Okay, your typical Taylorcraft wing tank has an outlet right about in the middle of the tank, right on the inboard side. So if you are installing wing tanks in your airplane, you're going to have to put a little plate up here on the inside, mount your fuel shutoff valve so that the valve is on the back side, and then there'll be a small linkage from the outlet of the tank up to the back side of the fuel valve itself with 3/8 50-50-20 fuel lines, and then from the valve it comes down the cabane or the front tubes, V tubes. And typically, these Interstate Cadet tanks had 2 outlets. So you can put a T at the bottom on one side and run both of your fuel lines if you have 2 fuel tanks, or one or the other, either one or both, into the bottom of the tank. And then the other side, of course, is your standard fuel outlet and fuel shutoff valve and so forth to the engine. So that's the basic. We don't have this all tightened down yet, but you can see exactly where it goes and how it's going to get fastened up onto the tubes. And so there's your valves. You can have both sides or just one side, as I said. And typically, if you have a one tank installation, it's going to be this right side tank. That seems to be the typical standard, though we see them on the left side also. So probably your preference on that. And that's basically the setup for the 6-gallon Taylorcraft wing tank installation in these Interstate Cadets.